Los Angeles, I'm and most Hollywood nights. She goes to California, oh, California.
What you say about Los Angeles?
LA got the people saying,
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Now here are your hosts, Josh Guesman and Wendy Thomas.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Mr. Josh Guesman, Miss Wendy Thomas back with you after match day one. The LA Galaxy fall 2-1 to FC Dallas. Some people, like myself, may have seen some positives in that match. We're going to talk about it. I think there was also some negatives you could probably point out, too. I'm certainly not going to dismiss that, but we're glad you could join us. The LA Galaxy will get ready to face the Portland Timbers coming up on Sunday, so we have that game to look forward to as well. But first things first, we have to check in with our fearless co-host, Miss Wendy Thomas. Wendy, how are you doing? Hanging in there?
Recovering from last week's loss, Josh.
You can't be shocked that they lost.
Definitely not shocked. It's interesting because last year when the LA Galaxy lost games, I was extremely angry because I felt, given the talent available, that it was ridiculous that we ever lost.
Right.
This past week, because I was so concerned about the deficiencies in the squad, I legitimately thought there was a chance that Dallas would cream us. I really was thinking about whether it would be as bad as the game between Portland and Minnesota. I don't know if you had a chance to capture that game.
I did. Which, by the way, if you're watching that game, it's 2-1.
Preview.
It's 2-1 in like the 80th and 78th minute. So that game got out of control very fast, which I thought could possibly happen to the Galaxy.
Yeah, I actually was thinking about how Dallas might Galaxy. But in fact, when you think about it, even though we lost, and I usually hate it when we lose, when I was leaving, I was thinking to myself, there were a lot of positive things to take from that game. The result, not one of them, but there was things that I thought of as positives. But I wonder if that's because of the diminished expectations that I had. I wonder if I went into the game thinking that it could be so terrible that it would almost be unwatchable, and when it was just kind of like a little poor, I was like, well, this is actually a lot better than it could have been.
It could have been horrible. It could
have been no, I really was thinking, I watched the Portland-Minnesota game, and I felt so bad at the end. I was like, I really don't even feel good about watching that game. That I was thinking to myself, what if that's what the Galaxy are about to walk into? What if Dallas just toasts our midfield, crucifies Daniel Stairs? I really thought that it could be a 4-0, 5-0 kind of thing, but it wasn't. It wasn't at all like that. It was much more even.
It was much more even. As a matter of fact, I think the Galaxy had the better of chances. FC Dallas capitalized on their chances. Please don't get me wrong. Then they had, one clear breakaway that Brian Rowe was able to snuff out after the back line sort of fell asleep on some offside trap there. But in general, yeah, I know. Breathe through the defense. Yeah, we knew what the problems were with the LA Galaxy, right? I mean, this is the whole thing. The people who are really upset about this game apparently paid no attention in the preseason and in the offseason about what the LA Galaxy.
When I was screaming, they weren't listening to that.
No, yeah. They weren't. They were listening. They were paying no attention to any of that, because when you went in, you saw exactly, realistically, what the deficiencies in the LA Galaxy are going to be: the defense and the young strikers up top filling in for Giassi Zardes. For me, that's where the team struggled. They struggled to create chances, and then they struggled to defend the limited chances, realistically, that FC Dallas put on them. Dallas did a good job in the first half of putting pressure on the LA Galaxy. It's definitely
sure.
a tale of two halves, which is funny because we went into halftime at 0-0, right?
For sure. I mean, Dallas is a really talented team. They've been tearing it up in the CONCACAF Champions League, but even without Mauro Diaz, frankly, I mean, they're still really good. I mean, Kellen Acosta, he delivers a corner really, really well. They have a ton of talent. Their new signing, that guy, the Paraguayan, he's so good. But I mean, do you want to sort of go through what we thought of as positives versus negatives?
Yeah, give it to me. I mean, I want to go over sort of, just some of the highlights that we liked, maybe some of the things that we didn't like. So yeah, hit me with some of the things you thought were positive.
So let's positive. Let's go positives first. Okay.
I like that.
So I've never seen any of these. A lot of the players that took the field, I've never seen them play before.
Right.
So I went in with a very blank slate with respect to what I was expecting. So what I saw. The positives are Gel Van Dam is amazing. I thought he was stupendous. I thought he was electrifying. I thought he was the best player on either team. He was doing everything defensively. He was getting into the attack. He was making clearances off the line. He was smothering attacks on the part of Dallas. He is our captain. I'm so happy he's our captain. I think he's an amazing player. I think the Galaxy are lucky to have him.
Hey,
That's a positive.
Let me give you something else. The positive. Yeah, I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the Audi Player Index, which is some sort of made up point system that gets. I just like it on occasion because sometimes it'll help you sort of verify what you saw in your head maybe. But Jelle Van Dam was considerably the best player on the field according to the Audi Player Index.
He was amazing. I wish that people appreciated defenders more because I feel like so much emphasis in MLS is put on the attackers because of the way the designated money is spent, designated player money is spent. But when you see a player like Gel Van Dam and what he does defensively, how intelligent he is, how he does little small things in the field that make a huge difference in terms of the impact that, all the players around him are better because of things that he does. He's so intelligent. He contributes to the attack even though he's all the way at the, in that last third. And there was actually a time, and it was around the 90th minute, where I don't know how this happened. He wound up in the final third as the striker.
Yeah.
He literally was patrolling, and I mean, that doesn't necessarily say good things about what our strikers were doing.
And he did that last year too. I mean, realistically, he was
up there he was like the striker. I'm like, he is in every third of this field. He is everywhere.
No, he is, and that is certainly. I mean, if you're looking for a captain, and I wrote an article about Jelle Van Dam up on cornerthegalaxy.com, you can talk about it. Is sort of this guy who has certainly embraced Los Angeles, loves the city, loves the LA Galaxy. I mean, you're talking about he is the guy who anytime he posts a picture on social media, he's always got something Galaxy on. Galaxy hat or Galaxy shirt. So you immediately, I think fans immediately are drawn to him and really like him. So you have that. And he also has sort of a no BS attitude, which is hey, I don't care. I'm here to play football, and I'm just going to go out and play football. I'm going to have a good time. And, if I'm going to play defense and nobody else is going to play offense, then you know what? I'm going to run up there and play offense. I will solve your problems. I'm going to help you guys.
I know, doing everything. He was doing everything. But, I mean, that poses other questions. Okay, so other positives.
Yes.
Jermaine Jones.
Yes.
Jermaine Jones, as long as Jermaine Jones is healthy, 1 healthy and 2 not suspended.
Yes, we'll get to that.
He can be an asset for the LA Galaxy because I saw Jermaine Jones being extremely lively, showing a lot of energy. He is a very intelligent player. I mean, he did a lot of things in terms of protecting the LA Galaxy when we were exposed and trying to push forward. I mean, he is a very capable central midfielder. So if he is 1, healthy.
Yes. 2,
not suspended.
Yes.
Then he is an asset to the team. If those contingencies don't apply, then there's a problem.
Well, yeah, and it's going to be the roll of the dice the Galaxy apparently were okay with, which is we're going to rely on Jermaine Jones because you can see, and I've been saying it throughout the preseason that Jermaine Jones is one of the smartest players on the field, and you can see it.
He's super smart.
And you can see it.
He's super smart.
Yeah, and so you need him on the field though in order for him to continue to be an asset for that team. So anyway, he picked up an early yellow card in the 17th minute, a decision that apparently MLS didn't want to leave alone. I'm going to stop doing things where I look at replays to be able to determine whether or not a foul is worse than it is or is not as bad, because I'm going to start going with my gut feeling, just like Kevin Stott, the head referee, went with his gut feeling, and everybody in the press box went with their gut feeling whenever Jermaine Jones made the 17th minute tackle on Coleman. And I'm going to tell you right now that whenever it happened, I said, yellow card. Yellow card. So that's what I said immediately. You watch the replay, and I think you can change your mind about it. Okay, and I think that's what MLS is.
Do you want to tell us who changed their mind about it,
Yeah,
Josh?
yeah. The MLS disciplinary committee, the DisCo, as we like to call them, who lives their life in perpetual slow motion, which for me would probably be a nightmare. They have decided that Jermaine Jones' tackle was reckless and deserves a 1-game suspension. It's not reckless because it's not like with intent to injure, or because if it's a red card, you basically get the red card game and a game after that, right? So you would get suspended in it. So it's just really a game. So they deemed it red card worthy without really throwing a ton of the punishment behind it. In a tackle that even the commentators said was a yellow card real time. Start judging these things real time, because the disciplinary committee is always going to go back, and Curt Onalfo actually got all fired up. I was proud of Curt because I think he has a lot of Bruce Arena in him whenever it comes to being upset.
Of course, the protege.
He's not a guy, and I knew this whenever he was on LA Galaxy 2 as well, quite honestly, because you saw Curt is going to get thrown out of a game this year. I'm telling you right now, because he doesn't have necessarily the respect that Bruce Arena did with some of this stuff, right? But he's just as mouthy as Bruce is. So here is LA Galaxy insider Adam Serrano was talking to Curt Onalfo afterwards. First of all, Curt Onalfo calls the suspension for Jermaine Jones, and of course we're going to get to the suspension of Dave Romney as well. We'll dig further into that one. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, Dave Romney suspended for embellishment. I want to clear that up too when we're going to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Josh and I are taking the field.
Yeah.
It's Josh and me. I'm going to be left back. Josh is going to the center.
Right.
It's going to be good. You guys are going to really enjoy our defensive pairing.
Yeah, I am really good at sort of feeding other players. So Sebastian
I'm a distribution woman.
That's right. That's what you do. You give and you take. You give and you take. But here is Curt Onalfo. This is what he said, quoting Adam's article here. First of all, Curt says that the suspensions are ridiculous. And he says, and I quote, "I watched every game in the league this past weekend and saw far worse offenses. I think that it's wrong. I think it's ridiculous. I'll defend my players all the way to the end. Jermaine's offense was a professional foul. It was a hard tackle. And Romney got hit, so it's frustrating. But what are you going to do? You have to respect what has been decided and rise above it. That's what we'll do. It's an opportunity for 2 more players to step up in our group and do a great job. We're a group that finds solutions. We don't make excuses. I'm not going to be happy about it because I'm not." All right, there he goes. Okay, so you have Dave Romney and Jermaine Jones. Now, Jermaine Jones, if you want to say that's a red card, sure. I'm not going to argue with you because you watched the replay. I'm telling you in real time, it was a yellow card. Jermaine Jones almost gets that ball. In slow motion, it looks like the ball is so far gone that Jermaine Jones never has a chance for it. But his positioning was always going to take him through Coleman. All right, was always going to hit him. So you can't, if you're going to be upset about that, then you can be upset about it. But quite honestly, the disciplinary committee, and again, I think Curt's right. If I go back and watch some games, I think you can pull out other examples of plays that have not been punished, and yet the LA Galaxy are. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
No, I'm a conspiracy theorist. The LA Galaxy are disciplined harsher than other teams in the league. That is my conspiracy. I postulate that as my conspiracy.
Yeah, and I will say this right now. I think that MLS and the disciplinary committee is still upset about Nigel de Jong. And I think that Jermaine Jones is going to end up paying
They drove
that.
him out of the league. What is there to be upset about? You drove him out of the league. You made him leave the country. What are you upset about? You're the ones who should be ashamed of your pathetic Nancy Boy conduct, where you try and drive someone out of the league so that Merritt Paulson can tell the LA Galaxy who they should and should not have on their roster.
Yeah, no, it's and I understand the frustration through Galaxy fans is there, and I get it. I mean, I heard about this beforehand. If you followed me on Twitter, I heard about this right about the time Stu Holden tweeted out that Jermaine Jones had been suspended. Little things started popping up to me from other places that told me Dave Romney was going to be suspended, so I started focusing on that. So if you want to be upset about Jermaine Jones and the tackle and the subsequent 1-game suspension that he's going to receive, you have every right to be. I think that that's a ridiculous call, especially to make this early in the season, and especially when Kevin Stott, the head referee, saw the entire play. So basically you're going to say that referees can never, we're not going to yell at referees. They're not going to be reprimanded if they do something bad. But what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we take away all of their power whenever they make a play and whenever cause anything Kevin Stott does is basically under review. All right? Don't trust anything the center referees say because that doesn't matter anymore. It's going to be, judged and looked at in super slow motion. And if you don't look at those plays in real time and in the setting that they happen, and if the center referee who's standing right there is the argument he didn't see it? I think he was about 10 yards away. I mean, there's no reasonable argument here that MLS disciplinary committee should have gotten involved in this. All right, so, and that's it. And then Dave Romney. Dave Romney gets suspended, and I believe this is the first time this has happened in Major League Soccer because I found stuff for simulation, only one other, where somebody actually got suspended for simulation. We've seen people like diving, and they get fined. But for the most part, everything that I sort of found was only one player for Vancouver Whitecaps. I think it was Kudo, and he dove in the box, and it was a game-winning goal, and it was a penalty kick, and they suspended him for a game. But he was suspended for simulation, as in he was never touched. That's not what they're saying here with Dave Romney, Wendy. They're saying that Dave Romney embellished the contact that he had. Name any player on any professional soccer team in the world who doesn't go down if they feel contact in the box. Luis Suarez.
No, I mean, if you saw, did you see the game between PSG and Barcelona the other day?
I was just going to say
Neymar and Suarez.
Yes.
Okay, if you don't think they're professional players, then I don't know. I have some video clips that I want to show you because Neymar and Suarez, when they are touched, they go down hard. Okay, and it doesn't matter the contact, the level of the contact. Those are two professional athletes who know what to do when they receive contact.
So again, MLS disciplinary committee is not suspending Steres because he simulated contact. They're suspending him because he fell down when he felt the contact that he got. Which, again, and they're suspending him, I believe, for the first time. You know what? I let other people do research sometimes. If you guys want to go out there, look for embellishment suspensions in Major League Soccer. I don't think you're going to find any. And so now they've set a new precedent, which is if they deem, not the head referee who gave a penalty kick, not the player who felt contact and went down, but if the disciplinary committee deems that they made too much of the contact that they received inside the penalty box, they're going to get suspensions. So now we get to see the precedence of these, right? This is set for the rest of the league.
There are conspiracy theories which are true, okay?
There are.
Watergate,
yes.
Watergate was a conspiracy theory, okay? But it turned out to be true.
Right.
All right?
Right.
So people, I think, and I have thought this for quite a while, that the LA Galaxy receive harsher discipline than other teams. I think that MLS has a huge vested interest in ensuring parity within the league, and it's definitely one of the selling points to ownership groups when they're looking to invest in MLS is that your team, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, you could be the victor, and that there is a concerted effort in order to undermine the success of the LA Galaxy, and that they do stuff like this, which is that if, anything that happens within the LA Galaxy, if a player, commits a foul or does anything, any opportunity to punish the LA Galaxy, they will find it because they're concerned about the record that we have, that we've won a lot of championships. And I know I sound crazy, but some crazy people who have conspiracy theories, sometimes they're vindicated, okay? Maybe I'm right.
There's a podcast I listened to, and it's a comedian. And he talks about how he sees his therapist, and his therapist says, paranoid people are right. He's like, it's one of those things. It's like,
there are instances where it's true.
No, and they're right all the time. It's like, well, I mean, I could this floor could collapse, and I could fall through it. Well, they're right. It could collapse, right?
Well, there's an old saying. I mean, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's
so
what it is.
I sound crazy, but let me tell you something. There was Jack McBean. If you look at what happened to Jack McBean during that game, okay, there were players who were grabbing him and pulling him down seriously in the box. If you see what they were doing to Jack McBean, they were pushing him, grabbing him, pulling him down. Nothing is called. Nothing is called when it touches Jack McBean, man. It's just like Jesse Zertis. The same thing. He would get fouled constantly, and it's like, because he's a big guy, he's young, he's strong, he's fast, he's athletic, yada. They're like, nah, he can handle it. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I know. No,
I mean,
You're 100% right. Somebody even theorized, and I thought it was a good theory, that the Dave Romney penalty kick was a makeup call for that Jack McBean sort of pull down in the box that happened.
Yeah, because they grabbed him and they pulled him down in the box and nothing happened.
Yeah, a lot of people said that if on the replay that Jack also had a hold of a jersey there, but whenever you stop a guy who's in front of you from going any further, that sort of negates any sort of pull or push that's going on. I mean, there was clear interference there. But anyway, so again, you're going to be without Jermaine Jones, 1-game suspension, and without Dave Romney, 1-game suspension, which means the back line has, I don't know, like you said, Wendy, you and I are going to suit up for the back line, I think. They'll let us, we could put on a trench coat. Like, you could get on my shoulders, and then we could put on a trench coat.
Collectively, we would be as tall as Gel Van Dam.
There we go.
So
we could
the two, you and me together.
There we go. We could pull it off.
We would make one Gel Van Dam.
So anyway,
wait, positives.
Yes, positives. Sorry.
Positive. Let's go to positive because this suspension stuff is going to drive me crazy.
Right.
Okay, positives. Gel Van Dam.
Right, we got
Jermaine
that.
Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Jack McBean.
Yes.
I mean,
Somebody,
Jack McBean.
Somebody's on the Jack McBean train. Finally, it happened.
No. I think that this season could be a crazy disaster.
Right.
But in one way, it is an interesting testing ground because the LA Galaxy has a ton of people in its academy, right? It has a ton of these kids in its academy. And there's always these questions. Are they ready? Are they not ready? Are they ready to step up? Are they of the same caliber as an MLS player, as a player from Europe? What is their level? What is their skill level?
Where are they?
And if nothing else, this season is going to be the season where we figure out who is good enough to be in MLS and who is not good enough to be in MLS.
Have you been listening to my podcast?
No, but after just one game, I have an idea, and I'm not going to draw firm conclusions because I think it's too early. It's not fair. You can't draw firm conclusions after you see a player for 10 or 15. It's not enough time. You have to give him at least 2 or 3 or 4 chances, okay?
Yes.
But having said that, I do think there were differences between, for example, how Jack McBean played and how Ariel Lassiter played. Okay, just as an example, Jack McBean to me, and I remember years ago when he was signed, he seemed like a much more developed product. He seemed strong. Mm-hmm. He plays well with his back to goal.
Yes.
He puts in effort defensively. It seems much more mature as a player than, for example, Ariel Lassiter. I think that when I saw the two of them play, because Ariel was substituted in late in the game, that I felt there was a quite profound difference.
Yes.
And I don't know. I really think that Jack seems like he is ready, that he played like maybe not like Jassy or, an elite striker in MLS, but he played like someone who was capable of being a striker in MLS. When I watched Ariel, I think maybe he's not there.
Maybe we're not there yet.
Maybe we're not there yet.
I agree with that. Let's go to Curt Onalfo. Curt Onalfo after the game talking about Jones and Pedro. So I think he's gonna touch on some of the positives. Let's see if he gets all of the positives and maybe even gets one, Wendy, that you haven't talked about yet. So let's see if Curt Onalfo after the game talking about Jones, Pedro, Jack McBean, and one other player. Here we go.
I'll start backwards. I thought the two central midfielders, Yao and Jermaine, were handfuls. I thought they were very good the whole game. Too bad they picked up yellow cards early on because that affects how you play the rest of the game. I thought Jack played very well. I thought he held up the ball well. He laid off the ball well. You could see him growing as a young player. He had a good physical presence playing against two very, very good central defenders. What was the last part? And Ema came in and made a difference immediately, and that's what he has. He has this ability to get in behind. There's going to be games he starts. There's going to be games he comes off the bench. He's a weapon that we need to utilize.
All right, there we go. Curt Onalfo after the game talking about Jack McBean, the two center midfielders with Joao Pedro and Jermaine Jones, and then Emma Boateng. Does Ema fit on your positive list?
Well, now that Jermaine Jones has been suspended, he better, because he will be in the field this Sunday, because we really have, there's a question in my mind as to whether we can put 18 players into our starting 18.
You can.
Because we have Dave out, we have Robbie out, we have Ashley out, we have
Zardes.
Who else is out? Jermaine is out, Zardes is out. I mean, we're getting right down to it, folks. We're down to the marrow of the bone. Okay, that's how close we are to like not having a full roster.
Here's what I'll say about that, and that I actually think, and I've seen everybody theorizing different lineups throughout the Twitter
Lletget
sphere
in the
and
center,
Facebook.
right?
I mean,
Lletget in the center.
It makes the most sense to make the fewest changes, and for me, it moves Lletget in the center and Boateng out to take Lletget's spot, and you worry about who comes off the bench after that because Portland is going to be a nightmare for you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
Portland's going to be a nightmare.
That's the whole problem, is that everybody keeps saying, well, who's going to come off the bench? It's like, stop worrying about that. Get a starting lineup on the field, all right?
Everyone plays 90 minutes.
That's right.
It.
That's right. There are no subs. No, there's going to be subs, but I mean, realistically, you make as few changes as possible, and that is moving Lletget inside, which makes sense. He can pair with Pedro, and I'm sure we'll get to more of that. I want to get to some voicemails, and then we need to move on.
Wait a second, but
Go.
more positives.
Yes, go.
We have more positives.
You got
We're
like
done.
1 minute. List them off. Let's go.
Okay. So I think Romain Alessandrini.
It's Roman, by the way. I have said it wrong. I'm correcting everybody. It's Roman.
Roman Alessandrini. I thought he showed genuine signs of talent.
Yes.
That he could be a real asset depending on, how quickly he gains his fitness. I'm very interested to see what else he brings. I thought Joao Pedro he started nervous, I think, but then he progressed, and I think by the end he was showing a lot more confidence and that he could be a genuine threat defensively. He showed that he has some aerial ability. So those are also positives that I want. And Lletget, of course.
I was going to say, of course, that's going to be Lletget.
But he's always a positive for me.
He seems to be.
Anytime Lletget has taken the field with the LA Galaxy, he has never been a negative for me.
Lletget playing, and I will use air quotes, Lletget playing right back for you. Good call, not right call.
Oh my God, a right back! Oh God, well, then, are we going to talk about the negatives now?
Well, if you're going to put that as a negative, I can start arguing now.
Okay, but here's a legitimate philosophical question.
Yes.
Okay. Sebastian Lletget as a player, we want to make sure that he fulfills his aptitude and potential. Okay, so why should his potential be threatened by virtue of the fact that our front office made irrational and unwise decisions in the offseason, leaving them without a right back? And
okay, but
I understand that he is versatile enough that he can occupy any number of positions, and that they want intelligent players to occupy positions on the field. But you are depriving Lletget of, you're essentially saying you can't develop, even though you just got your call up with the U.S. men's national team last month. You cannot develop because I cannot make decisions as a front office, because I am not capable of making smart decisions. You are going to be damaged.
Did Lletget play right back?
He played right back.
No, he didn't. He was a midfielder. So Curt Onalfo.
He was the entire flank then. You're saying that there was no right back.
There was no right back, and realistically, even Curt said that in his postgame. And anybody who says that Sebastian Lletget played right back, yes, he tracked back twice, which he needed to do, and he did it well. And quite honestly,
You're making him responsible for the entire flank.
No, you're not, because there's still people in front of him. Basically, they put 5 midfielders in, and they kept more offense on the field. You wanted to take a defender off in that position, right? Because you needed more offense.
I understand the theory. You're going to put more attacking assets in the field, so that because since we're a goal down, we're going to may try and get a late winner.
And it worked. And ultimately it worked. Everybody's going to say
we lost.
No.
Josh,
You generated offense from that move. All right, I can't help that people can't finish. I can't help that Ari Lassiter missed a header from point blank range.
Oh my God, Ari Lassiter!
Okay, I can't help that. But what happened on that right-hand side is Sebastian Lletget was able to push up at another offensive player, so basically playing 3 in the back, and he was able to create some offense. And if people can't understand that that's the correct move, I have to question whether or not. Hold on.
But
let me finish. I have to question whether or not you want to watch soccer or you just want to complain about a coach, because people really wanted to throw Curt Onalfo under the bus for playing Sebastian Lletget in right back, which he was never really a right back.
No. They are not throwing him under the bus for putting Sebastian Lletget in as, or essentially
a fifth
putting
midfielder.
in Emma Boateng and removing Rafa Garcia. Okay, taking away your right back and adding a winger. That's what you did. Whether you call that a conversion to right back, or whatever it is, that's not what people are upset about. Okay.
What are they upset about?
The fact that they're upset about is that we are in the position, because of decisions that were made by this front office, that we do not have a legitimate right back to insert on the field.
No,
when
because
you take
okay,
someone off.
wait a minute. So you would have put another defender in place in that position. So if AJ De La Garza is on the field in this position, you would have put another defender on. You would have taken somebody from the offense off.
I have to assume that one of the reasons Rafa Garcia was removed is because he was not being an asset to the team, and that if AJ De La Garza was there, he would have been an asset to the team. So I think that if the situation was one where AJ De La Garza was on the field, Curt Onalfo never would have thought to remove him.
I disagree. I think he would have. I think Bruce has done that in the past to put in more offenses to take AJ off. Yes, I would take AJ off. Uh-huh. You know why? Because you had 3 center backs also back there. So basically, whenever you go to the 3-man back line back there, you have the 3 center backs who technically can play that 3-man back line. Maybe you could take out Stairs. Maybe you take out Stairs and slide AJ over, right? But
I think the decision, which puts Leggett in charge of the entire flank, is one which exposes the front office for poor decision-making in the offseason, not one which exposes Curt Onalfo for his decision-making on the field during that game.
I think that was the
decision
perfect
on the field during
decision.
the game, I understand why, but you shouldn't be in the position where you have no right back.
You are going to take
that position.
You are going to take a defender off in that case. It could be anybody across that line. Correct? Because you have to get more offense in. And Curt said at the time that everybody on the offense was playing well. So he didn't want to take anybody on the offense out in order to put in another offensive player. So you're going to take a defender off. Rafa Garcia makes the most sense in that case, right? Because you have the other 3 guys who realistically are all center backs and you could keep them in there. So it makes perfect sense to get more offense and go 5 midfielders, let Sebastian Leggett cover that right side if anybody runs, which he did twice easily, and anybody else on that team you put in that position to cover. Somebody said that Jermaine Jones should have been the one who was put at right back.
No. I'm not saying it's not the correct decision.
Okay, there we go. That's it.
I understand theoretically that in that moment, given the players you have, that's the decision you make. I think that the LA Galaxy should not have been put in this position. That's what I think.
I think that what decision should they not have been put in? They should not have been down a goal? Is that it?
I think that when your first choice right back has surgery in the offseason and there's no feeling in his ankle 3 months later and he's talking about retirement and articles are being published about how the fact that he might not recover from this injury, that you don't trade the only other player on your team who's a right back. That's what I think.
And that has zero to do with what happened on the field. I agree with that. I
disagree.
Why?
I disagree.
Why?
Because I think that had AJ been on the field, the LA Galaxy wouldn't have been in the position where they had to sacrifice so much defensively.
Guess what? AJ De La Garza has given up goals before. It has happened. All right, the LA Galaxy could have easily.
You are not comparing AJ De La Garza to Rafa Garcia.
I didn't say that. I said that AJ has given up goals before. You're making the assumption that if AJ comes onto the field, that the Galaxy aren't losing in that situation, and I said that they absolutely could still be losing in that situation. And if they did, that the correct decision is to remove a defender. That's what I'm saying.
In which case, I would remove Romney, by the way.
Okay, then remove Romney. It doesn't matter. You still have 5 midfielders at that point, and you're trying to get more offense. That's it. That's simple. That's the play not only was Curt Onalfo correct in that, he generated offense.
I'm not saying
he
generated offense that didn't produce goals.
This is like
when I used to fight with Sean Steffen about expected goals and stuff like that. It's like, oh, but theoretically we should have scored more goals, but you didn't. So why are you talking to me about theory? Okay, because the reality is that Ariel Lassiter missed a wide open goal that he should have scored. Any striker 9 times out of 10 would have banged home.
I think that was a difficult ball for him to see. I am not going to say he didn't miss it, but that ball comes right over top of the defender, and he probably loses sight of it, and then it comes over.
I'm going to give you credit on Jack McBean. You've been on this Jack McBean train for every year that I've known you. You've been in love with this guy since he was 16 years old.
Not true, but thank you.
Okay. You've loved Jack McBean as long as I've known you. I'll give you credit. He is good. He's capable. He's shown that he's ready for MLS. Ariel Lassiter, okay, I saw some real
Well, you saw him miss. You saw him miss that header, obviously, and then you saw him hit a left-footed strike that was going in until it got headed out of the way.
Oh my God, there were so many weird things going on in this game. There was one point where he was on the wing, and then then Jill Van Dam was playing striker,
Yep.
and Leggett was at right back, and I was just like, what on earth are we doing? What is going on positionally that every single player is out of their natural position? And Ariel and Jill, why is Jill Van Dam patrolling the final third like a striker? Why isn't Ariel Lassiter in there? If he's a 23-year-old kid, shouldn't he be able to run at defenders? Why is Jill Van Dam running at defenders? Why isn't Ariel Lassiter doing that?
Well, and I think Jermaine Jones even said that he tried to calm Yella down because he was saying you have to trust the guys in front of you. I think Yella wants to be, especially in the waning minutes of matches, I think Yella wants to be a guy, obviously a huge target guy, and a guy who realistically should already have goals for the LA Galaxy, should have scored a bunch last year. I think Yella Van Dam could have been that guy to sort of, steal a point back. And so he wanted to be up there as an option for a header, for the long balls, for the crosses that were coming in from the flanks for both the left and the right-hand side. I don't necessarily know that that's a horrible thing, but I'm also with Jermaine Jones, which is, you need to be smart about when you do it. And in the final minutes of the game, I'm perfectly okay with throwing a whole bunch of people into the box in order to try to get
But
a
it
point
wasn't
back.
a whole bunch of people. Jill Van Dam was there. I didn't see Ariel Lassiter there. And let me tell you something. Jesse Zardes. People criticize Jesse Zardes left and right because they think his touch is bad. He's a, jackhammer of a touch. Let me tell you something. 90 minutes of every game, Jesse Zardes, if he is up there as the lone striker and there are defenders around and they have the ball, he will run at his defenders. He doesn't matter what minute of the game he is. It doesn't matter how tired everyone is. He will work, okay? And I don't know what Giovanni Dos Santos or Ariel Lassiter were doing, but why is Jill Van Dam operating as a striker? This is crazy. Ariel Lassiter is on there for 15 minutes. He should be running left and right at people.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a scramble at the back. I didn't think
A little
Ari's.
bit of a scramble at the back.
I didn't think that Ari Lassiter's performance was great. Obviously, wasn't a big thing. Let's get to some voicemails I want to get to before we move on and start looking at this Portland game already. Let's go to Dustin, and Dustin calls in and has a little chance to chat with us here. So here's Dustin.
Well, hello. My name is Dustin. I am a frequent listener to your show. I want to say shout out for both of you. You guys are always awesome, always in depth talking about discussions. Well, I saw the game. It was pretty good. I think what we need is a good striker because every time I see, Gio trying to do way too much by himself that he doesn't get any support. That probably is because Jossie's still out. But I think that with some tweaks, I think this team can and should make the playoffs and even be a contention for MLS Cup. But it's going to be a work in progress, I know for sure.
All right, so there's Dustin. He needs a striker, not necessarily a bad thing. I can understand what he's saying. The only thing I don't understand though is Giovanni Dos Santos seems to like to play somewhere around the midfield line and less in the attacking zone. Whenever he was up there, Wendy, I thought he was really good with combination with McBean. They had 2 or 3 good combos that, could have seen somebody break through, but I'm not convinced that Giovanni Dos Santos coming all the way back is going to be the correct thing for that.
There was actually moments in the game where I was stunned because I saw Giovanni running at a full sprint, and I was like, "Whoa, what is going on? Is Giovanni Dos Santos gonna put forth an incredible effort this year?" So there was actually times during the game where I thought Giovanni was doing stuff that I liked. He was really I saw a few runs where he was really running hard to chase down a ball. But, there's definitely... I thought he combined well with Jack McBean, but there's definitely a lot of work to be done offensively in terms of what's going on up there.
Yeah, I'm not happy with everything. I thought that the service is sometimes lacking inside to both of those guys, to McBean and Giovanni Dos Santos. I'd like to see more service to them. I'd like to see Jermaine Jones combining more with Jack McBean because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that can sort of happen to play off of those, and then Alessandrini and Leggett can get in on those plays as well. So
that could just be a result of chemistry. That could just be a function of the fact that they haven't played together for long.
You're looking at a full team that hasn't realistically played with each other for 2 weeks. I mean, that's about is that, Alessandrini comes in basically a week before the season starts, or a week and a half before the season starts. You have guys like even whenever Ashley Cole goes down, you have Dave Romney having to step in right away with that as well. So, I mean, there's lots of guys who've been moved around, and, the injuries aren't helping, and the suspensions aren't going to help to make that any better. All right, let's go to another call. Here is Jason. Let's hear what Jason has to say as it plays.
All right, this is Jason. I'm from a small town near Las Vegas, and these are my thoughts about the game tonight. Overall, it's a good learning experience. Jack McBean was probably my favorite player on the pitch today. Other than that, Alessandrini, he needs time to adjust, as well as João Pedro.
All right, so that's Jason there, and hey, another vote for Jack McBean. Alessandrini said after the game, Wendy, he needs, that it was a lot more physical than he thought it was going to be. And that's pretty much what we hear from everybody who plays their first game.
Player.
Yeah, in Major League Soccer. So
the two things that people complain about are the travel.
Yep.
One, and the physicality.
Yep. All right, let's get to another one too. This one's that one was from just outside Las Vegas. Apparently, the show has a core group in Las Vegas. So we're going down to the Strip now, or at least I'm going to say it's the Strip.
Shout out to those.
Yeah,
the Bellagio.
we're going to lose a lot of people whenever Las Vegas gets an MLS team. All right, but right now there are listeners, so we're going to take them. All right, here's Matthew.
Hi, Josh. This is Matthew from Las Vegas. Just calling to talk to you about the game tonight. I thought it was interesting. I think that overall it was a good performance. I thought that the players all meshed together pretty well. I thought that our starting 11 looked really good, and I'm really excited to watch them going forward. I think that overall we had more of the possession, and we just gave away a couple of really dumb goals. But I thought it was interesting that both of the goals that we gave away, the ball came through the right side, right on the right back. Rafa wasn't involved in the first, involved in letting the first goal go through. But in the second one, if you go back and watch it, you see that Lamont comes with the ball and Rafa just goes the wrong way. And if he hadn't done that, then it would have been a tied game. And so you can't blame Rafa for that. It's just he's not used to the position yet. But the other thing that kind of worried me about the game was after we made our substitutions and the younger guys came on the field, we needed that punch to kind of get through and get a goal. It felt like it just wasn't there. In the past, we've been able to bring in just really great superstar players. And you have some confidence in them that they're going to be able to put up a good performance and possibly get a result. And it just didn't feel like that was there at the end of the game. Like we were just kind of flailing away trying to get something and just couldn't do it.
All right, so there's Matthew from Las Vegas. He's talking a little about Rafa Garcia. I would say that of the defenders, Rafa didn't have the worst night. I think that was Steres. I thought
Daniel Steres.
Yeah, I thought Steres.
Paging Daniel Steres, everyone.
He didn't have a good game. I think that some of that, and I think we were talking about this before we even started, Wendy, I think that some of that is that he is going to try to cover from that right side for Rafa Garcia because he knows that Garcia needs the help. And I think, but again, the first goal, it ricochets through his legs somehow as the ball gets kicked backwards. It wasn't good. And then, the ball goes through Jelle Van Dam's legs in order for that shot to go in across row. So, if you want to...
No, it was like Daniel Steres forgot how to play soccer in the offseason. I don't know what happened. I thought at the end of last season, when we were in the playoffs, actually there was times when I was like, oh, Daniel Steres is really developing. He's really becoming pretty good. And then I don't know what's going on. He is out to lunch. I don't know what happened to this guy. He is... OMG, I think, and you told me I was wrong, but I do think it has something to do with the fact that Cole is gone, because I remember that there were games last year where I would look over and Cole would be yelling at Steres. He would be like, get over there, run back, no, run for it, and I would be like, okay, good. Cole is giving direction, and Daniel Steres, you have a member of the former Belgian national team to your right here, and then you have Ashley Cole, who's won the Champions League and played in 3 World Cups, and he's over there, and they're giving you direction. That's very good. You take your direction.
Right.
But I don't know what was going on. Daniel Steers was like, it was like he was on a different planet from what was going on.
Yeah, what
was going on with him?
Well, I thought he played okay in the first half. There was a lot of clearances they made in the first half, the Galaxy back line. It was Jelle Van Damme and Daniel Steers and even Dave Romney, because they're all have that height advantage. In a lot of ways, they were having to head a lot of balls out, and Dallas really was, especially in the second half or the last maybe 10 minutes of that first half was really putting pressure on the Galaxy. So I thought they did okay, sort of in scrambled defending and that type of thing. But the 2 goals, for me, the second one, Rafa doesn't step up, Steres doesn't step up, allows too much room for Acosta. That's sort of, for me, that was the one where you're sitting there going, you can't allow that much space. And you saw the frustration on Jelle Van Damme after that goal as well. Like he's yelling and screaming.
I feel so bad for that guy, because you have one really excellent defender, and he's surrounded by these 3 guys who are like, it's like they're at camp. It's like they've never played center back before in their life. It's like incredible. I feel so bad for him, because he's a really intelligent, competent defender, and he has these 3 guys with him, and I don't know what he must be thinking to himself. Like, why am I forced to do this? Why do I have to play with these guys who are incompetent? Why? I feel so bad for him. I'm so sorry.
I wouldn't feel bad for him. I think he does it. I don't think he minds. I think he's upset and he's a competitor, but he also, I think he relishes the fact that he can impart wisdom. And so, I mean, that's going to be one of the biggest jobs for him this year, is to stabilize Daniel Steres, because Steres has to be a center back there. You don't have anybody else. I mean, listen, there's lots of center back replacements. Everybody on the LA Galaxy 2 roster, I feel like every defender is a center back of some sort, all right? Hugo Ariano, I think Bradley Diallo, Nathan Smith might even be some center back in there as well. So you have all those things whenever you look at it that they all could be, and Jelle Van Damme is going to have to stabilize that. And yeah, it's up to him, and it's a monumental task for him. The defense...
I'm so sorry.
The
I'm
defense...
so sorry, y'all. If you listen to this podcast, I am really sorry.
I don't think that, again, we knew coming in, defense and strikers and how they were going to do. Jack McBean did okay for me. I thought he was strong enough for me that he gets the start again.
Strong enough.
Yeah, and give him a shot. I think that he's going to be the guy who they can rely on, even if, and we should get to some LA Galaxy rumors as well, even if the LA Galaxy possibly sign somebody. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has been linked to the LA Galaxy.
They are never going to let him go. Have you been following the EPL? He is by far their best player this year.
I think that there's 2. I agree. I think this is how I would look at it, is that Zlatan has shown interest in the LA Galaxy before. Whenever Jose Mourinho went over to
I've read his
United.
autobiography. Yeah. He's a real fan of American culture. If you read his autobiography, it was a very interesting book, and he wrote a lot about his admiration for American culture, and specifically like players like Muhammad Ali, who is a huge idol of his, and how he admires his bravado and his posturing and all that stuff. He really takes a lot from that. But Manchester United is never going to let him go. Okay, so I would just wave that, rumor goodbye.
Yeah, I disagree with that. One, because it's going to be his choice. So it's going to be whether or not he wants to spend.
Do you know how much money? Do you know how much?
Do you know how much money he's made throughout his career?
I know, but like,
if he wanted,
they are going to throw.
If he wanted money,
at him.
if he wanted money, he could go to China, right? We all agree with that, because they're going to be the ones who give him the most money.
There's a difference between living in England versus China. I mean, in China, there's genuine issues with respect to like hygiene, air quality, stuff like that. I mean, Manchester's fine. I mean, it's okay. But I mean, yes, LA is nicer, but I mean,
right.
Like they are going to throw millions at this guy.
I think that the biggest issue will be whether or not Manchester United is in the Champions League. Everybody has sort of well documented the fact that he's never won it, and I think that may be the thing that he wants one more crack at. If Manchester United, who's in the Europa League and quite honestly seems like they're head and shoulders above everybody else in the Europa League right now, if they win that, they get an automatic berth into the Champions League, which might be easier than them finishing in the top 4 in the English Premier League right now. So either of those things sort of happen. I think the chances of him coming are nil. I don't think it makes it, because the money and the Champions League.
One of the things that I am okay with is this whole idea of us going to places like Portugal and France to get like designated players, is because there is no point into getting to a bidding war with clubs like in China and Manchester United. I mean, it's not a prudent way to spend money, okay? It's not intelligent. So why not just spend money on players with lower profiles and they don't have the names, but you're still going to get output from them? And, I mean, Zlatan is a character. He is a bigger figure than any one team. He's going to do whatever he wants, but I can't imagine him turning down the buckets of gold that Manchester United would throw at him to keep him there. I mean, I just don't see it. I don't see it.
The other thing I think that you should throw in there is that Manchester United will probably want him for another year, right? Realistically, they want 1 year. I think Zlatan's going to want 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're the LA Galaxy, and this is a big risk. I mean, this is not a guy who's young. All right, but he's also one of the.
He's like 35.
Yeah, he might even be older than that. Is he 36 now?
36, or yeah. I mean, he's not young.
But a guy who also has scored how many goals for Manchester United? Is it like in the 20s?
He's like in the top 3 strikers in the EPL. Seriously,
Yeah.
He's really, really good. He's
So-
been really productive for them.
So realistically, it's another gamble. I mean, Wendy, you're talking about a gamble, but I will tell you one thing: that there were 23,000 plus at StubHub Center on opening day. If you don't think that doesn't sit too well with remember the LA Galaxy used to sell out every opening day. It wasn't even hard. I think that them reaching here, one, could be a reaction, of course, to all of the people who say that cost cutting has taken a toll, because realistically they're going to spend more money on Zlatan Ibrahimovic than anybody has ever spent in Major League Soccer for a player. It's a record deal.
Which still wouldn't even be a fragment of what he could get in China.
Yeah,
or
oh,
from
absolutely.
another team. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
No.
honestly, this is no.
It's going to be about whether or not he wants to come. If he wants to come, Wendy,
If he wants to come,
he's coming.
Zlatan, let me tell you, no one tells Zlatan. I learned this from reading his book. No one tells that man what to do.
Yeah.
But realistically, the timeline for a professional athlete is very short. They have to maximize the money they earn, and I'm sure that
I don't know that he's hurting, but I understand. Hey, money always. Everybody says money doesn't matter until they say, "Well, we're going to give you another $20 million." So it's like, oh, well, $20 million does matter.
It does matter quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, that matters a whole bunch. All right, we'll continue on. Listen, we've talked about that, the Zlatan rumors, and we will continue to follow that. I suggest you follow Kevin Baxter, who has been on top of this story. He's the one who originally said that the LA Galaxy had a record deal out, and then Grant Wall was the one who came out and said it was Zlatan. The LA Galaxy schedule also coming up. I want to give you guys a heads up. Obviously, Sunday against the Portland Timbers. Then the LA Galaxy go on the road for 2 games, away to Real Salt Lake and away to Vancouver, before home again on April 7th to the Montreal Impact. That's what you can have to look forward to. I would go over the Western Conference standings, but does anybody really care after 1 game? And
No,
it's
doesn't
depressing.
matter. Although
so
I
don't
would
wanna
say after watching that Portland game, I am mighty terrified of what Fernando Adi might do to our back line.
Oh, well, and if we remember the preseason game, he has already shown that some of those. I'm going to give you some games to watch.
I'm telling you, he is, oh my goodness.
He's a good player. I don't like anything about Portland. I don't like their coach. I don't like their players. I don't like a lot of things except I love their stadium and their fans seem
I don't like
amazing.
their owner, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I don't like their owner.
Okay, throw that in there as well. But but anyway, yeah, that's beside, and we're going to get to that Portland game here in just a second. I'm going to give you some MLS games to watch, and that's one of the things we're going to try to do every week whenever we come on for this live show, just to keep you ahead of paying attention to who the opponents are coming up to be. All right, so Real Salt Lake will travel away to the Chicago Fire at 2 p.m. Eastern. So is that 11 a.m.? I always do my math in my head, and sometimes I get it wrong. But 11 a.m. Pacific time, look up for that game on MLS Live. And then if you're looking for the Vancouver Whitecaps, they will head to Avaya Stadium and play the San Jose Earthquakes. And that game will be at 10 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. on Saturday the 11th. So both of those games on Saturday, LA Galaxy will play on Sunday. We already told you Jermaine Jones, Dave Romney suspended for 1 game. The injuries right now, Giassi Zardes, Robbie Rogers, and Ashley Cole all still out. Giassi Zardes was supposed to start training with the team this week. I haven't heard, and I haven't been paying attention to whether or not that happened. It's pretty safe to say that if Zardes is in the 18-man roster, he will be somebody who comes off the bench and is very late. If I'm Curt Onalfo, I sit him for another game. There's no need to rush this. This is a long season. Make sure he's 100% healthy. Let the kids out there again. Here we go. The LA Galaxy versus the Portland Timbers, Sunday, March 12th at 4 p.m. on Fox Sports 1, a Sunday game. The Portland Timbers coming off a 5-1 victory over Minnesota United, and I think maybe, Wendy, I agree with you that I think they're dangerous. Portland showed they were dangerous in the preseason game, but also that Minnesota United might be hapless in MLS this year as they've decided to spend, quote-unquote, wisely and not splash the cash like Atlanta has, but at least Atlanta looked like they belonged in the league. where Minnesota United sort of got played off the field there in the last 20 minutes of the game.
I feel bad for them. I feel bad. I felt for the first half it was much more even.
It was, and at one point, and it wasn't even that
It was
far.
tied. It was tied at one point. Yeah,
No, it wasn't. It was 2-1 in the 80th minute. That was as close as it ever got because Portland had scored 2 goals, one in the 14th and one in the 47th, and then Christian Ramirez, who was a USL guy, USL guy or NASL guy? I'm trying to NASL. I can't remember.
NASL.
Okay, anyway,
NASL.
Christian, who was one heck of a player, really like watching him, scored in the 79th minute. And then it was a PK in the 82nd minute. 90+1 is Audi, and 90+3 is Audi. Audi's licking his lips.
Oh, what is he? He is licking his chops. I'm telling you, he's looking at Daniel Stairs and Rafa Garcia, and he's just, slapping his hands together. I cannot wait. Diego Valeri and Darlington Nagbe and Fernando Audi. Oh, they are just...
They're pumped up. They're going to be pumped up for
with
this.
Anticipation. They're going to be psyched. Yeah.
All right.
So what they are going to do to our back line.
Realistically, the LA Galaxy should start this season 0-2. I'll tell you that right now. I think that they can be competitive in this game. I just don't think that they have the firepower that Portland has right now, and I don't think they have had enough time to work together. So we're going to see how this goes. One of the things that you're definitely going to watch, we've already mentioned him, Fernando Audi, watch how he switches away from Jelle Van Damme, all right? Van Damme is going to do everything he can to follow Audi because they match up size-wise, and Van Damme can technically manhandle Audi. And we've seen that. So if Van Damme can stay on Audi, that's sort of the game plan for them on defense. Now, Wendy, whenever he switches and gets off on Steres, you're able to see sort of what Audi is, and he's a big body, he's intelligent, and
he's so good.
Yeah, he's a very good player, and he's going to be able to turn Daniel Steres. And if that all happens, it's going to be.
He is going to flip Daniel Steres. OMG, what he is going to do.
I think I remember one time. Whenever I thought for sure there was going to be a player who was just going to rock somebody's socks off, that player stepped up. That player was AJ De La Garza, and he was guarding a guy who was about 4 or 5 or 8 or 12 inches taller than him, and he did a good job. It was Drogba.
Well, the team that has AJ De La Garza sure is smart, aren't they?
They won. Houston won 2-1, by the way. I don't think AJ scored, so I don't think you have to. Not yet.
They won away to Seattle against the MLS Cup champions
I think
with AJ. Yes.
They won home to Seattle. Seattle came to them. So it was.
Did they?
Yeah, it was in Houston. It's okay. It's still Seattle with Clint Dempsey. So yeah, absolutely a good start for them. But here with the LA Galaxy in Portland, the defense is going to be tested. The LA Galaxy need to generate some offense against a back line with Ridgewell in there. Ridgewell's very good. I still think that Portland suffers from defensive problems, so I think that the Galaxy
Not
can't.
as much as we do, man.
Well, yeah, but then maybe it'll be a shootout and it'll be 6-5. It'll be one of those. But I think the Galaxy still have some talent there with Jack McBean, with Giovanni Dos Santos, with Pedro, with I believe Sebastian Lletget playing in the center. Nathan Smith, probably your left back. At least that's my guess. He was the guy who filled in for Jelle Van Damme. Whenever Van Damme got the food poisoning, they moved Dave Romney into the center and they moved Nathan Smith into that left back role and actually did okay against this Portland team. So we're going to see what he can do. It's all about testing the youth, and it's going to be a rough, bumpy patch for the LA Galaxy to start the season. They have 2 away games after this, Wendy. One against Real Salt Lake and one against Vancouver. Realistically, knowing the LA Galaxy on the road, it's time to pick up some points here at home against against Portland, because points on the road are going to be way more difficult to come by, and Real Salt Lake might be their best chance at those. So,
Well, we'll see what happens.
Tough.
We'll see what happens.
MLS schedule makers were not exactly. I mean, they gave them 2 home games, but playing against Portland, who looks like they could be one of the better teams in the league, and playing against FC Dallas, who we know is good.
We're in the Western Conference. Who is an easy game? Easy game?
No, you're true. Although I was reading, I was talking
up and
to.
down. You look at it. The Western Conference is tough.
I was talking to Scott French, and he thinks that the Eastern Conference may be the better conference this year, which is going to be interesting. I don't necessarily disagree.
Way.
I want to watch Toronto FC. I think is going to be one of the best teams in the league up there.
I would love to be playing the Chicago Fire on Sunday. Okay.
Let's see how they again. That's why you should watch that game. I sort of pulled that out as Real Salt Lake going to Chicago Fire. Let's see how that game goes, because Chicago was woeful last year, and let's see how they are. Minnesota United might be the new Chicago Fire of the Western Conference. I know, but you give them a pass because they're an expansion team. They got to grow into this.
Expansion team.
They got to grow into this. All right, there you go. The LA Galaxy playing on Sunday, March 12th at 4 p.m. Fox Sports 1 is where you can find it. Of course, we expect to see everybody at the game. 4 p.m. on Sunday should be a good time. Hopefully, the weather will hold up for everybody, and it's a nationally broadcast game, so it should be very interesting to see how the LA Galaxy and their quote-unquote replacement players can come in here and somehow hold off the Portland Timbers. Wendy, is there anything else that you want to talk about before we get out of here, or is that it?
I will see y'all on Sunday.
There it is. Sounds good. Wendy, tell people where they can find you. We'll get out of here.
You can find me at cornerofthegalaxy.com and American Soccer Now, and on Twitter at Bartsborn.
All right, and if you're looking for me, it's at Guesman, JGUESMAN on Twitter, at Galaxy Podcast, where you can find me almost all the time. Please go to cornerofthegalaxy.com for all of our podcasts, all of our written articles, and please go to the website, sign up for the Friday substitution, an email that can see you get some highlighted content from Corner of the Galaxy emailed directly to you on Fridays around noon. Sounds like fun. We should try it. All right, LA Galaxy versus Portland Timbers, match day number 2, coming up this weekend. Good luck, LA Galaxy. Good luck, LA Galaxy fans, I should say. This will be very, very interesting to see if the Galaxy can match competitiveness with the Portland Timbers. All right, for Miss Wendy Thomas, I'm Josh Guesman. You've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Have a good one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.